Tonight's species is Bree's all-time favorite. She loves them for not only their beautiful colors, but also because they taste so good. It took me over 50 years to catch one over 50 pounds, and I filmed one being gaffed at 70 pounds. Tonight, we're talking dolphin here on the Florida Insider Fishing Report.
Welcome to the Florida Insider Fishing Report, presented by Yamaha.
Welcome back to another week on the Florida Insider Fishing Report, everyone. Amazingly, it's already June, which means summertime, which means dolphin, my favorite species.
Absolutely right, Bree. It does mean that.
And it's not only because they're beautiful and they taste good, but they're a fun fight.
Oh, for sure. The jumps, all those beautiful colors lit up against that blue water. It's awesome.
It's my favorite thing. All right, well, June also means that we are celebrating your birthday, Rick. Woohoo!
It is my birthday.
It is your birthday. So from all of us at RM Media and beyond, happy birthday. Thank you for being the best captain and keeping this ship afloat in these uncertain times. For so many, without you, none of this would be possible, and we just want you to know how much you mean to us and how much we appreciate you.
Oh, well, thank you. Those are some great pictures, man. You guys are going to make me mess up my makeup.
It's okay. We know somebody that'll fix that.
Yes,
all right, well, let's say hi to someone I know knows how to celebrate. Dave Farrell at the CCA workbench.
Yep, it's always good to have a 60th birthday around here. He's looking awful good, being 60 years old.
Look at Dave.
You'd think that he'd have a wrinkle, but he's pristine.
A rankle.
He's pristine.
He pays for that makeup lady to get those rankles, fill them all in. All right, what better place to get this party started than in the Keys region with Captain Randy Tao, where the Dorado party is also just getting started. Hey, Randy.
Hey, good evening, fish fans. You know, here in the Garmin Keys region, throughout the Keys, dolphin right now are the fish everybody wants to target. And you said it best. You know, they're a lot of fun, they're great fighting, they're good to eat, and everybody likes to chase them. Now, everybody's different. Some people like to troll. They get out in a favorable area. It's been about 600 feet all the way to 1,000 feet the last few days. And you can put some lines out and you can troll. And hopefully you'll have a hunting accident and catch a 50-pounder. Doesn't happen to me, but it does happen. I've seen the pictures. But if you know what to look for, if you know to look for debris in the water, if you know how to read the birds, if you kind of pay attention to what's around you, a lot of times there's your fish right there. So you want to certainly have people on the boat looking for these certain things, and it will help you in what you end up catching. A lot of schoolies right now, the big ones, they're a little more tricky than they used to be. There's not as many, so therefore you got to weed through them and be patient. The one thing about dolphin fishing, I can tell you, it goes from 0 to 60 really quick, so you better have all of your rods rigged and ready to go. You can't be putting hooks on when you're in the middle of a school of dolphin. I've got a photo. Captain Brian Cohn, he's our dolphin expert here in the Keys. He catches dolphin like clockwork, and he got into some nice slammers the other day, and here's his happy anglers.
Nice. All right. What else you got for us offshore, bub?
The edge of the reef, a lot of guys, they're going to do one of two things. Either go to a yellowtail spot or go dolphin fishing, and the yellowtail bite's been good. From about 70 to 100 feet seems to be about the best depth. Now, the known places right now that a lot of people are catching yellowtails, the commercial guys are fishing, and the sharks are pretty bad from what I'm gathering, talking to some of the people. So you might want to find an out-of-the-way spot, maybe a spot that doesn't get hit as much, or a place that you would normally not go because of the numbers in the other known spots. And really the difference is you'll be able to catch your limit in one and not the other due to the predators, due to all the trash fish like filefish and triggerfish and so on. Nobody does it better than the Two Conchs guys down in Marathon, and they do offshore and reef. And I've got a picture of Leanne Carlson's yellowtails she caught down off of Marathon.
Nice. All right, what do you got for us inshore?
Snook fishing right now. It's that time of year. It's only going to get better with big ones. I love catching big snook. One of my favorite things to do. Guys are finding them up on the flats. Guys are finding them along the shorelines and beaches. It just depends what type of fishing you do. but there's some nice fish right now, and thank goodness we've got the closed season going on where you can't keep these fish because a lot of them are on the extra large side, especially if you got pinfish or mullet. You're going to find some real nice fish. I've got a photo of Captain Jason Bryce. He's one of the top captains at Casa Vieja. He happened to be in the Keys this past week, and I got him in the boat. His first snook was a 44-incher.
Wow, that's a stud.
JJ.
All right, one more species to go. What you got, Pop?
It's tarpon time. There's still fish around the bridges, and guys are pretty consistent catching them. It's shifting over a little bit more to crabs being the better bait than the mullet right now. And the fly guys are getting plenty of shots on the ocean side and also some of those near inshore spots. So if you're a fly fishing guy, you're really having a great year because you've gotten a lot of opportunities. And the bait guys, Channel 2, Channel 5, Long Key, those are the upper keys areas that are really good right now. Doesn't matter which tide. And also 7 Mile Bridge and Bahia Honda, those are the two main bridges in Marathon. Guys are doing very well on them. I've got a photo of Connor Ross, a local kid here in the Keys, with his tarpon he caught on fly. Not quite as big as the one Rick caught with his customer a few days ago. That was 88 inches by 44 inches long on fly.
How about that? So we can still catch one every once in a while, Randy, but it's time for us to take a look at the Sunset Inn hotspots for the Florida Keys region. He says inshore snook. Fish the incoming tide along the shoreline near Flamingo. Use live pinfish or mullets for bigger fish. And then offshore, dolphins start looking in about 600 feet of water. Birds and floating debris will help you find the dolphin, Bree.
Nice little shout out, doing what you do best.
I like it.
Yeah, well, we have a Keys tournament alert. Coming up is the Key West Marlin Tournament, July 22nd through July 25th, and is limited to the first 75 boats only. This year's tournament is featuring $50,000 in guaranteed cash prizes and coincides with the annual Hemingway Days celebration in Key West. To enter and find out more information, head over to keywestmarlin.com. All right, another captain who just had his birthday, Mike Holliday in the Fish Bites East region, says you find the weed, you find the Dorado. Happy belated, Mike.
Thank you, Bree. I really appreciate that. So,
Sure.
April and May are when we typically see the largest dolphin in my region, but June has actually been the most consistent month for dolphin fishing, both in size and numbers the last few years. We're getting a good push of sargassum weed right now, and the dolphin are picking those weed lines for food. So this is a time to work the weed lines, the rips, the edges, and the color changes. Basically, the obvious areas that attract dolphin in open water. When you find something that looks good, you can troll naked ballyhoo, you can slow troll or drift live baits, or you can put up a kite and power drift the area. All those work well. Make sure you have a pitch bait ready or some small baits to toss out. In case you come up on a school of fish, make sure you keep a fish in the water. It seems like the best action this week has been in 120 to 250 feet of water, pretty much straight off of Palm Beach. Average dolphin in my region right now is 8 to 20 pounds. I have a photo. That's your typical size dolphin that's being caught in the region right now. That fish ate a live redfin. I don't have the angler's name. He was fishing with Captain George Gotts out of Flatline Charters. The other thing, the summer sailfish bite is really heating up in my region. The main body of sailfish are working their way back north. The bite has been spread out from 50 to 150 feet of water, all the way from Fort Pierce down to Jupiter. A lot of free jumpers and fish finning or laid up on the surface right now, so you can just kind of run along and look for them. Look for the fish around the color changes, the wrecks, the bait schools. A lot of times the fish are showing up in multiples. So, when you have a fish hooked, you want to keep your baits in the water so you can double up or triple up. Most of the sails are large, so you can troll ballyhoo with a blue and white skirt, or you can pull live baits like goggle eyes or Spanish sardines. But it seems like the best actions coming for those guys fishing pilchards or thread fins off a kite, or either live chum in the area and then putting out the larger baits on a 60-pound fluorocarbon leader with a 7.0 Trokar circle hook. Average sailfish in my region right now is 40 to 50 pounds. They're pretty big.
That is a good one. All right, let's go inshore, Bub.
Well, we're starting to see the first push of migrating tarpon on the beaches, as well as, the concentrations of resident fish that are around all the inlets and in areas like the Boy Scout camp in the Loxahatchee River, the North and South Forks of the St. Lucie River, Big Mud Creek by the power plant and Harbor Branch up just south of Vero Beach. Along the beaches, the fish are traveling in schools of 10 to 200 fish. But inshore, it's more, concentrations that are more spread out, and just the fish are just kind of rolling arbitrarily over a large area. The fish are really focused on mullet, both on the beach and in the rivers. There's a lot of mullet on the beach right now. A live mullet behind the boat or a dead mullet on the bottom is pretty much the way to go. On the beach, you can also throw a pilchard or a threadfin or a live crab, or you can toss, flies in the baitfish patterns, dark of the sky, dark of the fly, light of the sky, light of the fly, or a larger chartreuse colored swimming plug. Average tarpon you're going to run into right now is 40 to 90 pounds. The outgoing tide at the inlet's been great. I got a photo there. That's one of 2 tarpon that Cody Rubner caught. He caught that along the beach, and that fish ate a live mullet. The other thing, we're on the full moon in June, so we're finally seeing that first big push of snook into our inlets for the summer spawn. The first push, the schools are going to be small. There's still a lot of fish that are in that pre-spawn mode and on the move towards the inlets. So it's going to be more like 20 to 40 fish around the inlets instead of that 80 fish school. But for the other fish that are pre-spawn, this is a really good time to focus on throwing topwater plugs along the shorelines and along the seawalls at dawn, or getting out on the beach and casting a copper juice colored saltwater assassin 4-inch sea shad. There's a ton of minnows around the inlets. The fish are just gorging themselves on the minnow population in those areas. Most of those fish are small. You can fish small minnow plugs. You can fish sea shads. You can get a minnow fly pattern or a small live pilchard or sardines and just throw to those fish and have a really lot of fun on light tackle. With all the rains, the spillway snook bite's been heated up for those guys that are throwing big jigs or swimming plugs. The average snook right now, 5 to 15 pounds. I got a photo of a big one. Charlotte Sharp released that oversized snook. She caught that along a mangrove shoreline in Stewart, and that fish ate a live mullet.
Well, good job, Charlotte. Hey, Mike, tell us about the bass. Has all this rain affected that?
It really has. All that water coming into Lake Okeechobee from the rain is doing 2 things. It's cooling down the water temperatures, and it's allowing the bass to get back into the marsh. The Lake Okeechobee water level right now is at 11.5 feet, so it's coming up. The bass bite is really in the Kissimmee grass fields, around Observation Shoal, around the Monkey Backs, around Ritta Island. With a full moon, the shad are all schooled up and spawning, so you can start your day a little bit outside, working the school bass bite on the outside grass lines, throwing either a topwater plug or a white spinnerbait with a gold leaf, willow leaf blade, or throwing that crystal shad colored Bass Assassin 5-inch dye dapper, any of the dye dappers in the shad colors. Look for diving birds and fish busting the surface. That bite's going to shut down around 8 o'clock. It'll go longer on the days that are overcast. As the sun gets up, you can move into the shallows, really as shallow as you can get, and crawl a log or toad over the grass, and then just slow it down around the potholes, or just cast a June bug-colored tap-out worm, rig it Senko style, and fire it straight to those potholes. The largest fish are coming on live shiners, work along the outside edges of the grass lines, or flipping the isolated cattails with a creature bait. Average bass, 1 to 3 pounds, 20 to 30 fish morning on the lake right now.
All right, thanks so much, Mike. Great report for the Fish Bites East region. It's time to take a look at the T&H Marine hotspots. He says inshore, jumbo Jack Crevalle's on the beach north and south of the St. Lucie Power Plant, topwater plugs, fly poppers, and live pilchards. And then offshore, mutton snappers on the 75-foot ledge north of Jupiter, sardines, cigar minnows, and grunt plugs are going to work for the snappers.
The snappers. All right, the celebration continues in the Casa Vieja Southeast region next. But first, we're seeing what new mahi catching tips Dave Farrell is chatting us up with at the CCA workbench. Dave.
Yeah, it's got to be a bunch of the old chatting stories, actually. Rick likes my dolphin stories.
What's old is new again.
A lot of dolphin stories.
We'll be back.
Big fishes.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Yamaha. Reliability starts here. Contender Boats, always in the game. Noble Air Charters, raising the bar yet again. Rodan, set it, forget it, catch more fish. Sirius XM Marine, weather, fishing info, and channel surfing. And Daiquiri Deck, Sarasota's favorite place to meet.
An entirely new species of extreme predator is moving offshore. The Yamaha 5.6-liter V8 XTO offshore outboard. extreme big block thrust and power in the industry's first direct injection 4-stroke. Quiet, efficient, powerful, and proven Yamaha reliability. More than an outboard, it's a fully integrated power system. The all-new Yamaha V8 XTO Offshore.
Why is Casa Vieja Lodge on everyone's bucket list?
Left teaser. Left flat as well. 2 fish. They're everywhere. Right flat teaser as well. Left flat, right flat teaser.
Come to Casa Vieja Lodge and check it off your list.
Well, we're here at the CCA Workbench and the Academy Sports and Outdoors Rigs and Techniques, and Dave, dolphin is something that you really know a lot about.
Well, I get to catch quite a few of them. Just this past Sunday, I went out with Dolphin Dan on the meat wagon, and we caught 7 nice dolphin. We call it the meat wagon because we don't let anything go. Usually when we're out fishing for dolphin and wahoos and whatnot, we're out for the meat. And it's a good day when you can go out and target something and catch it. And we had a really good day. But up here off where I fish off the East Coast, we can catch dolphin anywhere between 80 feet of water all the way out to 550 feet of water, or 600 feet, or all the way out into the Gulf Stream, because the dolphin is a truly pelagic species. He is everywhere from really shallow inshore water up, around 80 feet, all the way across the ocean. He's one of the few fish that can just head right across the middle of the ocean and not have to worry about it. And so fortunately for us, they spend a lot of time in areas where we can reach them, right around the edge, and between 10 or 15 miles out usually is about when you can get a hold of them. Sometimes even more. Up where I live, we got to go 20 miles usually. But there are times when I fished here out of Miami and caught them in 30 feet of water in green water on live baits.
Right.
So there's no fences in the ocean, and dolphin don't care. They really like to go and they'll eat anything. They're the perfect game fish. They get big, they grow extremely fast. 90% of all the dolphin that we catch are under 2 years old. They can grow 20 pounds. If they got a lot of food, they can grow 20 pounds a year.
Right.
So most of those dolphins that we catch that are under 40 pounds are less than 2 years old. If they get to be 5 years old, that's usually a monster. He's over 80 pounds.
Right.
He's world record size. They usually never get that big because everything's trying to eat them. Everything wants to eat the dolphin. They put out a lot of babies. They spawn sometimes 2 or 3 times a year. They can start spawning when they're very young, and that's why we have a lot of them. It's one of those really great game fish that renews itself a lot, and we can catch a lot of them.
Like the peacock bass in freshwater. Cool.
Correct. So we really don't have to worry about taking too many of them. We've actually got some good regulations in place now with a 20-inch rule and all that. So
So I noticed that you got a whole bunch of different lures. Tell me what you like here, Dave.
Well, when you're targeting dolphin, unless they're really, really big dolphin, you're going to be using smaller size stuff. Although the same things that I use for wahoo and even marlin sometimes catch big dolphin. I mean, I caught a 50-pound dolphin last year off the Cape on that lure right there, a blue and white or purple and white island lure. Had a big giant ballyhoo in it, and I was fishing off an 80 bent butt. Thank goodness it ate the right one.
Right.
But I love any of the island lures. This Sea Star is probably one of my favorite ones, and the little tracker there, both in blue and white. they eat a lot of flying fish. Dolphin eat a lot of flying fish. They're in water that has a lot of flying fish in it. So anything that looks like a flying fish is a good dolphin bait. Any little feather is a good, a little feather like this one. These little feathers with a little 7/0 hook in it are great. Any smaller size bait they will try to eat. And a big one will eat a small bait. A lot of times the little ones won't eat big stuff. This past weekend, I was out pulling all those big islanders with ballyhoos in them, and I'm rigging up all these ballyhoos, rigging all these ballyhoos,
and all the little fish are eating
all the little
alive.
dolphins are taking all my ballyhoos away and not getting hooked. So I had some of these jaw lures, marlin, mahi magics, I guess they're called. And I said, hey, Dan, let's put some of these things out. All these little dolphins will be able to weed our way through. Well, the first time I put that thing out, I got a double header on it. A little one ate this, and a big 10, 15 pounder ate that one. Huh. So from then on, I said, let's reel all these ballyhoos in. These things are working. And we didn't put another ballyhoo out the rest of the day. And we caught 6 more nice dolphins on those little
So you
magics.
broke the code for the day.
Well, what they were eating. They were going to eat whatever I put out there. What I broke the code is I didn't want to keep feeding the little ones
dinks.
And not catch them, And I put the little stuff out and started catching the little ones and the big ones. Right. And the little ones were big enough to keep, so it worked out.
Good stuff. Speaking of feeding the little ones,
dinks.
I know that Bree, you specialize in feeding a little one. So where are we going next?
Yes, I do. All right, some big dolphin have been coming out of the Casa Vieja Southeast region. So listen up to Captain Jimbo Thomas, and that next big bull might be yours. Hey, Jimbo.
Hey, Bree. Hey, Rick. And hey, Dave. Throughout the course of the year, we definitely do catch more dolphin than we do any other kind of fish. And we do catch them year-round, but typically late May through August, those are the most productive times. But in the last couple of years, it seems that the fish have been showing up a little bit later, like towards the end of June, but they've also been hanging around a little bit longer, like we've been consistently catching them the last couple of years through October. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens for this season. But with that said, catching dolphin is pretty easy, or actually it's the easy part catching them, but you got to find them first. Now, our greatest dolphin fishing tool is a good pair of binoculars, and I like to have a pair of binoculars with a compass, so when we see some birds working, we know which way to head. And also on calm days, we can spot some floating debris, and the birds we can usually see about a mile away. Now, aboard the Thomas Flyer, we like to troll a couple of small to medium lures, anywhere from 8 to 10 knots, so we can cover some ground. And while we're doing that, we're looking through the binoculars, looking for any signs of life. Once we do locate the fish or a fishy area, we like to throw live pilchards or cigar minnows, or you can troll through those areas with small lures and rig baits. And we like to use 20-pound spin outfits, and about a 50-pound leader, and about a 5/0 hook. We usually use J hooks. We don't use circle hooks usually for the dolphin. For one reason, we're not really letting them go, so we're not doing conservation mode. But cigar minnows and pilchards are one of our favorite baits. Also, cut ballyhoo and cut bonita works great as well. Now, in the last few days, there's been a few dolphin around. I wouldn't really say that they're running, but as we get further into June, hopefully that action should pick up. Now, the fish that we have been finding have been anywhere from 200 to 900 feet of water under birds, also around turtles. So we've been finding a lot following turtles the last week, and also some scattered sargassum weed. If you can find something big floating, you obviously have a good shot at catching them there. And we've been trolling small lures and rig baits and casting live baits to them. Now, I got a photo here. And this is a 32-pounder we caught last week, and this is the biggest dolphin that we've caught so far this season. Hopefully there's a lot more to come.
Nice.
Now, we've also got, we've got blackfin tuna, and that blackfin tuna bite continues to be excellent along the edge of the Gulf Stream, fishing anywhere from 150 to 250 feet of water. Now, we've been fishing a lot in the green water the last couple of days, or even the last week. But if you can find some blue water and North Current, it'll even be better fishing. But we've been catching them in that green water. Now, we've been fishing live baits under the kite or on the drift. That's the way to really target these bigger ones. And they've been anywhere from 25 to 30 pounds. We've been fishing pilchards, sardines, and herrings under the kite. And we've been using 30 to 40-pound fluorocarbon leaders and 3/0 to 6/0 trocar circle hooks. And we've had some overcast days lately, and it's been really good, but otherwise they've been biting throughout the day. And the best bite's been anywhere from about 4 o'clock in the afternoon until sunset. And if you can find enough baits to live chum with, it's definitely going to help. I got another photo, and this is the Moore family from Naples. And this is one of the 3 blackfins that they caught. This is a 22-pounder that we had. So it's been really good. Been eating a lot of sushi.
Quickly on the
Now moving
inshore. Go ahead, Jimbo.
Inshore, big tarpon been hanging around all of the inlets, also around the beaches adjacent to those inlets. They're being caught in the afternoons, late afternoons, and into the evenings. Live crab's been the bait of choice, but a big live shrimp or live mullet will also work if there's no crabs available. There's also been tarpon inside of Cape Florida and Key Biscayne, and also around any of the deeper holes in the bay and through the ICW. These fish have been biting throughout the day on live crabs and mullet. There's also been some scattered schools of mullet throughout the ICW from Miami north to Lake Worth, and those tarpon are feeding on those mullet first thing in the morning. If you don't have any live mullet, try throwing mullet pattern swim baits to this fish. And a lot of these tarpon in the inlets and the bays have been in the 80 to 100 pound plus range. And then last week with the nice weather that we've had, the bonefish and permit fishing was really good. Have to wait and see what happens with the weather this weekend. But Captain Joe Gonzalez, he's been finding bonefish up to 10 pounds on the oceanside flats of Sands and Elliott Keys on the hard bottom flats, and anywhere from 2.5 to 3 feet of water on the top of the Alcoin tide. You want to look for signs of life on the flat, activity from stingrays, sharks, barracudas, and even turtles, which are all good signs that those fish might be foraging in those areas. Now, Captain Joe, he's been using a crab pattern fly or a small silver dollar-sized blue crab, but a live shrimp, or a brown or pink skimmer jig that'll also get the bites. And the permit have been on the oceanside flats from Ragged Key to Caesars Creek. Look for them over hard bottom flats.
All right, Jimbo, we got to go.
Live crabs and crab pattern flies.
We got to go, bub. Thank you so much. We're going to take a look at the R&R tackle hotspots. Inshore, catch and release tarpon. Look for them in the inlets and around the deeper holes of the ICWs. Fishing with live crabs and mullet in the late afternoon and evening. And then offshore, fish live baits along the edge of the Gulf Stream for blackfin tunas, sailfish, kingfish, and late afternoon bite has been the best, Bree.
All right, everyone. The first CCA Florida Coastal Social Virtual Banquet was so popular, they are back with the CCA Coastal Social, The Art of Fishing edition, starting today, June 4th, through June 7th. The silent auction will feature all the great CCA items you're used to, plus original artwork and fishing adventures with the best marine artists and guides in the industry. The bidding is going on now via the GiveSmart mobile app. For more information on how to participate, go to their Facebook page, Coastal Conservation Association Florida. All right, keep your eyes peeled for the Garmin Panhandle and Bell's Central East regions next. Plus, we're talking with our friend from Kubota, so stay hooked. We'll be right back.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Power Pole, Total Boat Control, Bass Assassin and Saltwater Assassin, the best lures, period. Blue Water Outriggers, everything for your outdoor adventure. Garmin, join the club. Florida Coast Equipment, Florida's largest Kubota dealership, serving Southeast and Southwest Florida and Florida's Space and Treasure Coasts. And Casa Vieja Lodge, 5-star angling in beautiful Guatemala.
I'm Captain Rick Murphy, and I'm a life member of CCA. Why am I so involved with CCA, you ask? Because I want our fisheries to be in better shape for my kids and their kids. CCA is working to ensure the future of recreational fisheries and the rights of recreational anglers. The future of fishing starts today with you. How do you want to leave things with your kids? If you're like me, you'll want to make the right choice and go to joinccaflorida.com right now.
Real Legends Performance Clothing. Everything you need to be comfortable on the water all day long. Keeps you cool, dry, and protected from the sun. Durable performance technology at an unbeatable value. Shop anytime or go to reallegends.com to find a Bell store near you.
Every year, Noble Air Charter flies over 20,000 outdoorsmen and families just like you economically to over 300 Bahamian and Florida destinations. Noble Air Charter makes a substantial investment improving booking and aircraft route planning to create the most affordable and economical flight possible. And tomorrow, Noble Air's team will rise to the challenge to raise the bar yet again.
Navigating at night can be dangerous, even for the most experienced drivers. With over 400,000 pixels, Night Track makes it possible to navigate in the dark with confidence. Night Track seamlessly interfaces with all multifunction displays, 2013 or newer, and offers boaters or the outdoorsman peace of mind at an affordable price. For more information, call 251-605-9100.
Joining me now is Matt Baer from Florida Coast Equipment. You know, Matt, this beautiful tractor behind us. Why don't you tell me a little bit about Florida Coast Equipment?
Well, Rick, thanks first for having me. I appreciate it. Florida Coast Equipment has been in the business for 35 years. And as far as it goes, we are seen now as the largest Kubota, Florida dealership. We have 4 locations, starting from the Southwest Florida to South Florida, up for the Treasure Coast, and to the Space Coast.
So, you know, the cool part about Florida Coast Equipment is the variety of different pieces of equipment that you sell. So why don't we talk a little bit about what you guys have to offer?
Yeah, we have zero-turn mowers to compact track loaders or tractors like you have behind you here. We have big ag tractors up to compact construction equipment.
So, you know, the one thing that comes to mind is last year I remember that we did a promotion that was about some financing. Do we have any specials going on right now, Matt?
Yeah, we got great financing going on right now for our zero-turn mowers, 0 for 48, our compact tractors such as this one, 0 for 84%, and 0 for 60 right now on our compact construction equipment.
Now, why in the world would Florida Coast Equipment want to sponsor a fishing show, Matt?
We're just like you, man. We love to fish, we love to hunt, and so do our customers.
You know, and that's the one thing when I see the guys at the gas station in the morning on the way to a fishing trip, more often than not, a lot of the times the guys say, you know, I'm in the lawn business, but we love to hunt and we love to fish on the weekends. And you guys have products across the board. So if guys are looking to get some information on financing or maybe a new tractor or a zero-turn mower, where do they go, Matt?
Stop by any of our 4 locations, or you can check us out on FloridaCoastEQ.com.
All right, guys, check them out. You can certainly get the deal. They've been a top 15 dealer in all of the country for the last 6 years, so go check them out. All right, Bree.
Some good stuff over there. All right, the Garmin Panhandle region is spilling all of the fish catching secrets. So, Captain Pat, come and join the party.
Hey, Bree, how are you doing tonight? I tell you what, Florida, the Florida Panhandle, we got dolphin pretty much May through October. The best fishing is generally going to be June, July into August. Smaller dolphin often caught near shore within a handful of miles from the beach, but the best dolphin fishing is going to occur offshore, 30 plus miles. You want to look for clean blue water near floating debris. I mean, anything floating. Weed lines, logs, flotsam, a pallet. Those can be a game changer as far as finding the fish. Right now, there's some blue water beyond southwest edge, towards the nipple, and south and southwest. You want to troll small feathered lures, plastics, and skirted ballyhoo. Gulf dolphin are going to range from chickens to big bulls. I think, 40 to 50 pounders are really good dolphin anywhere you find them, really. But staying offshore, red snapper open on the first and federal waters for permitted vessels, and red snappers are being caught in good numbers. This year, the snappers are around in good quality and quantity with good numbers of big fish. Use live cigar minnows, herrings, or cut bait. Natural and artificial bottom is where you're going to find the fish. It's open for all recreational anglers June 11th in both state and federal waters. And the good news is there's plenty of quality fish around, not just out in the deeper federal plus waters, but in the state waters, very close to the inlet. And there's a photo of James Frudenberg sent in from Navarre. This is his wife Casey and her friends with a 30-pound snapper they caught and released out of Pensacola last week. They were caught it on a spinning rod with a live cigar minnow. And man, that's a really nice snapper right there.
Yeah, it is. That's a lot of snapper, bub. That's a huge butt. All right, tell me what's going on inshore.
As you like to say, bring the snapper.
That's it.
And moving inshore, Rick, the redfish report comes from Captain Chuck Kemper over in Navarre, Lucky Chucky Charters. He's been doing really well at Santa Rosa Sound, targeting the residential docks on the north side of the sound, west of Navarre. He's looking for docks with deep holes. Basically, look for those docks with a boat lift with a 30-plus boat lift in it, boat in the lift. You know there's a deep hole right there in the grass. He's using live bait under the cork, shrimp, spot minnows, or menhaden. The redfish are running 15 to 25 inches. And then finally, if you just want to go out and catch some fish and have some fun, and it's perhaps some of the easiest fly fishing you can do, go for the mixed bag. Hit the deeper grass flats near any of the passes. There's abundant Spanish mackerel, bluefish, ladyfish, and if you're in the right place at the right time, Jack Crevalle. Lure fishing, you want to use spoons, jigs, or topwater. If you're fly fishing, use streamers, poppers, or clousers. And color really doesn't matter. It's more about the retrieve. You want a nice, active, fast retrieve, and use a 30 to 40 pound leader to minimize cutoffs, especially if the Spanish and the bluefish are around. But that's really a good way to introduce young kids to fishing, as well as fly fishermen that haven't really got into that saltwater scene yet.
All right, thank you so much, Pat Tar. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the blue water outrigger hotspots from the Panhandle region. He says inshore, redfish on the docks in western Santa Rosa Sound. Use live bait under a cork. And then offshore, red snappers in federal waters. Hire a charter or jump on the border and then fish out of Alabama.
Alabama. All right, let's get Captain Jim Ross from the Bell's Central East region up on screen for some face-to-face dolphin reporting. What can we expect for the weekend, Jim?
Well, we're hoping it's going to be pretty good, Bree, but I want to throw a big shout out to Matt at Florida Coast Equipment. He helped a couple of weeks ago with a piece of equipment. We rented an excavator from them from their Mims location, and he made it so easy to do. I just really wanted to thank him personally. Speaking of dolphin, though, they're running and gunning right now. So it's been slow one day and fast the next. So what you have to do is you have to run and gun as well. Don't sit in poor water. Find water where there's action. Look for birds. You want to look for the little tuna-style birds, seagulls, frigates, whatever happens to be working around the weeds. That's where you need to be, is where the birds are. And right now it's between 90 and 180 to sometimes even 200 feet of water. But find those birds and find flying fish, and you are going to find the dolphin. Most of our dolphin right now are running about 10 pounds. There's a few into the upper teens, but Captain Garen Malin got on a good bunch of them the other day. I've got a photo of him. He runs a boat called the Sea Venture out of Port Canaveral, which is part of the Sea Leveler fleet. You can find them at sealeveler.com. And it's a pretty good board they've got there.
Yeah, it looks good, bub. All right, what else you got for us offshore?
Well, we've got king mackerel. Just like the dolphin, though, the king mackerel have been moving a lot this past week as well. You'll find them on Pelican Flats one day. You'll find them on Chris Benson the next. You'll find them on the Half North the next. They're moving all over around in the region. And what they're basically doing is staying on those 60 to 90 foot reefs, though, because that's where the majority of the bait is. So once again, if you don't find fish immediately, pick up and run, find another spot. But the main thing right now is they're getting ready to move to the beach because we're getting ready to get a spawn. This next full moon, they should come to the beaches to spawn. Most of our fish right now are running about 12 to 16 pounds, but look for fish over 30 pounds because there's more and more pushing inshore as every day goes by. And I've got a shot here of a fish that we caught the other day, and my charter client Heinrich took this water line out of this king mackerel. I thought I'd throw that up there.
That's pretty cool, dude. Cool. All right, what you got inshore?
Well, it's a summertime flounder bite. And you know how much I like to catch flounder because I like to eat flounder. And in my region right now, they're grouping up around the inlets. So Ponce Inlet's been a very good spot, and also the reefs, artificial reefs just outside of the inlet that are up and down the beach a little bit, within a mile of the beach, have been holding them. At Canaveral, the Chips Channel buoy's doing good. Down at Sebastian, out a little farther, they're outside a Monster Hole. They're not really in the inlet, but they're out and around the inlet. So just get outside and drift with either a mud minnow, a fingerling mullet, a pilchard, something like that on a jig head. That seems to work really good. Or if you get Saltwater Assassins products, the white, the glow, or the acid rain curly tails on a half-ounce red-headed jig head seem to be dynamite right now. And our average flounder is running about 2 to 3 pounds, but there's a couple out there pushing 5 and better. And then my last species is speckled trout. And it's funny, our speckled trout bite this week is a complete flip-flop from the report I gave last week. A lot of the captains that I've spoken with this week were having trouble last week, like myself. And this week, topwater bites going off. And the speckled trout, redfish patterns, and also the blue back plugs seem to be working really good on a walk the dog style plug right now. In fact, Captain Justin, my son, was out just the other day, and they had a banner morning. He was having doubles left and right. But one thing you need to be careful of, the dolphin are getting very smart and they're getting very aggressive. So they'll run up and they'll grab the dolphin fish, that is, will grab your trout and actually try to pull them off the lure. So if you start getting into a situation where the dolphin are getting aggressive, then what you need to do is basically just pick up and move. But most of our trout are running about 2 to 3 pounds right now. And then I've got a photo. And so we always show these big fish all the time, big fish photos. And I thought it might be a little more realistic to show our listeners an average size trout that we're catching right now. It's about 16 to 18 inches long. It's hitting a topwater plug, and it's a really good morning bite. So if you guys get a chance to get out there, go for it.
All right, thank you so much, Jim.
Thanks, Jim.
It's time to take a look at the Rodan Marine hotspots from the Central East region. He says inshore, flounder around the inlets, use assassin jigs or live mud minnows on a 1/2 ounce jig head, and then offshore amberjacks on the reef and wrecks in 180 to 240 feet of water. Use live baits and vertical jigs for the fish, averaging 25 to 30 pounds. That's a big reef donkey.
It's not about the size of the fish, it's about catching fish and the memories being made.
Yes,
Am I right?
Yeah, it's never about the size.
All right, we want to remind you about the Yamaha Spring Savings Sales event going on now through June 15th. Your savings could include up to $500 in dealer credit for 2.5 to 75 HP models, 2 extra years of warranty for 90 to 300 models, and 1 extra year of warranty on 350 models. So for more details on how you can save, go to YamahaOutboards.com. Like my little sing-songy?
Yes,
All
you
right,
did good.
Mahi Mahi, a fish so nice, they named it twice. We're seeing what the weekend has in store in the Central Star Trek Central West region. Don't laugh at me, but first we're seeing what products Dave has for us.
She's so funny.
Dave, it's so funny. People have heard that before.
We're talking about new products. Got this really cool light here.
Dave's
Goes
lit.
underwater. Brings
Dave's
fish
lit.
to your dock. Look at that.
Getting lit. We'll be back.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Have fun out there. Ameritrail. Load. Launch. Relax. Real Legends. Exclusively at Bell's. Okuma. Inspired Fishing. Discover Crystal River, Florida. And Maverick Boat Group. Makers of premium boat brands Maverick, Hughes, Pathfinder, and Cobia.
At the pinnacle of super high output, 4-stroke outboard performance, you'll find Yamaha VMAX SHO. Yamaha's game-changing SHO technology. From exhilarating V6 models to the sleek inline 4s, there's a VMAX SHO for everything from bass to bonefish. It's an extended family of 4-strokes engineered for lightweight, inspiring performance, and rock-solid reliability. Discover VMAX SHO and elevate your expectations.
You sons of fishes. Ain't enough fish on this lake for 2 clubs.
Really? Well, we see plenty of fish live with Panoptics.
Yep. Dang, we should get Panoptics. Or maybe we'll just take yours.
What's going on here? You boys have license?
Yes, sir.
Nope.
There he is.
Oh, I got it.
There are moments in our lives that make us realize how fortunate we really are. To breathe fresh air, to taste the salt of the sea, to be able to roam free in nature. The Florida Keys and Key West are now open to visitors. We have so much to be grateful for.
Each morning when we're planning our trip, we head over to my boat with an idea of where we'd like to fish that day. Maybe there's a spot we frequent or a spot that my buddy has told me that is red hot. But as you all know, these locations consistently change, and that's part of the fun. Before we leave the dock, we dial in our plan with the SiriusXM fish mapping service.
What we're looking at here is the Fish Recommendations feature. This will show you where the most productive spots for fishing are most likely to be. SiriusXM's oceanographers gather a variety of ideal conditions for each species and turn these into color-coded areas designated by species.
We also know that weed lines create habitat for bait fish, which in turn attract game fish. These weeds drift over time, but SiriusXM Fish Mapping Service provides daily updates on where the weed lines were last located to help you find these spots faster.
Yep, and even better, you can combine fish mapping features like weed lines and fishing recommendations shown here together on one screen to give you all the information you need right at your fingertips to help ensure you're as productive as possible while out on the water. To learn more about the service and their free 1-month trial, visit SiriusXM.com/fishmapping.
Well, we're here at the CCA Workbench, and it's time to talk about some new products. Dave, what do you got?
I hurt myself.
Yeah.
All right, we're talking about, first off, we're going with this TH Marine, these YOLO sticks here. It's a YOLO power stick. And what these do is they power your GoPro or your Verb or whatever little, high definition camera that you have. You can put it on that thing and it'll keep it charged up all day. It goes in your navigation port on your boat.
Okay.
So you don't have to keep plugging, you have to keep changing batteries in Ghost Pros over and over and over again.
That's
all day.
cool.
Yeah, you just plug it in, and it's made out of aircraft aluminum. It's got 3 different connections on the bottom for just a pressure one if you're not going real fast, and then they have 2 more. It'll go up over 70 miles an hour. It'll stay in place.
So I have a question for you. Might throw you a curveball. Is this waterproof? No.
No,
so you can't use it like a GoPro stick under the water.
Well, yeah, if you put, I don't know if it's waterproof. I don't think it is.
I think electric.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. I wouldn't do that.
All right. Speaking of something that is waterproof.
TH Marine, you can get that.
THMarine.com.
Correct. Next, we have some R&R tackle, the Mahi magnet. Since how we were doing Mahi today, I figured we'd do the Mahi magnet. Ray makes these little magnets in sizes from 1.5 ounce or a half ounce all the way up to 2.5 ounces. And what's really good about these is they have that durable rubber skirt on them, and then the feather for action and the mylar for the flash. So it gets them any way they're coming. And the 1/2 ounce up to a 2.5 makes it last in any sea state. It stays in the water. It's got a really stout hook on there, and it comes with 100 to 150 pound mono depending on the weight.
Mm-hmm.
So, and they're get out there and catch you a dolphin. Then those things, they will eat that. All right, next we have the Real Bright Bite, and it's a LED, high-powered LED fishing light. Works in both fresh and salt water. 16,000 lumens. It's very bright light.
Wow.
It's three. It's got a unique dimmer switch, which most of them don't come with a dimmer switch. You either turn them on or you turn them off. It comes with 30 feet of heavy marine cable. It's waterproof up to 150 feet. It's got 168 LEDs in there for a 360-degree light. It goes in every direction, and it'll last 50,000 hours.
It's cool, man.
It is cool.
Use this in chub and single.
Yeah, you can either run it
Rocky when it's time to eat.
Yep, there you go. You can run it off a regular 12-volt battery, or you can buy an adapter and have it plugged in if you want to put it on a dock.
And they make a little bitty one.
Yeah, they also make a little tiny one as well. So really cool lights. Last but not least, we have the Caddy Can.
My favorite.
It's a multi-purpose storage bag. You can use it for a garbage can. I don't even use mine for a garbage can. I put a lot of gear and stuff in it. This is a removable liner that you can take out and dump stuff in.
Like you used it for a garbage can. I see the garbage in there.
Exactly. It's made out of 600 denier fabric. It's like ballistic nylon. Number 10 zippers, so really heavy duty zippers. You don't have to have a set of tools to put it on the boat. It attaches with 4 points with heavy duty Velcro, and it's got a nice little top on there where you can.
What I like about it, Dave, is that I've had now one on the boat for a year. Mm-hmm. And I have it underneath the little leaning post that we have on the Pathfinder. We also have one on the Contender. But what I also like is I can throw my cast net. We can rinse out the inside of this insert. But then what I really like is that I can put it away when I'm not using it because it collapses down and I can put it in hatch.
Well, it comes in 2 sizes. That's the big one. It comes in a junior as well. That one will hold a case and a half of crushed water bottles, and the little junior will take a whole case of crushed water bottles.
Great for your 4-wheeler, great for your sidekick.
An RV, anything.
Yeah, everything.
Any time you want to put something away, that's a great place to put it.
All right, speaking of putting it away, we got some more show to do. What's the next region we're going to put away?
Yes, we do. Okay, StarTron Central West Regioners. Captain Jeff Page is zooming in and has quite the report for your first week of June. Let's hear it, Jeff.
Yes, we do. It's already June, halfway through the year almost. And you know what? In the StarTron Central West region, we may not have the famous mahi dolphin fishing that they have on the East Coast. But like Pat Deneen said, up in the Panhandle, from May to October, we have a pretty good dolphin fishery, and the same rules apply. You pretty much want to get out there in the Gulf, at least 30, 40, 50 miles out, and pay attention to your color change in your water. Pay attention to weed lines. I heard Pat mention if you find a pallet floating. And another thing Captain Chris Seeger mentioned, always stop and cast underneath frigate birds. That's always a good sign. You know what? You control plugs, you control rigged ballyhoo key style, and you're gonna come up with dolphins. And then as far as the little schoolie fish go, you get a couple of those around the boat. It's a good idea to throw out a couple handfuls of pilchards to get them fired up. And then you can put a small pilchard on a hook and fish them with 6 to 10 pound class rods and have a lot of fun. I've got a couple dolphin photos tonight from Captain Chris Seeger of Tightline Charters out of Marina Jacks. Both really nice dolphins they caught later in the season.
Nice.
Staying offshore, I've got red snapper. You know, Rick, we got the opening of federal red snapper season this week. And then I think on June 11th, the recreational season opens. And by all reports, the red snapper fishing is really going to be good. I know you guys caught a lot of them filming here about a week or two ago. And Captain Tim No, as well as Captain Jason Stock, are reporting good quality red snapper. They're getting them in 130 to 170 feet of water over hard bottom areas, ledges, and they're getting them on frozen sardines as well as pinfish, standard bottom rigs and chicken rigs. And speaking of Captain Jason Stock, I've got a photo of him tonight with a really nice red snapper on board Full Send out of Anna Maria Fishing Charters. And then inshore, tarpon. You know, I keep mentioning tarpon every week in my fishing report because it's like the #1 inshore species. Everybody's after them and everybody's catching them throughout the entire region, starting with the fly fishermen, Rick. They've been doing really well on the bars outside of Big Pass, Little Gasparilla Pass, and then up on Bean Point. And the guys that are getting there and getting set up early, throwing black and white, purple and black, or even tan and black flies, and being patient, they're going to get their shots. I talked to a friend of mine, that's all he does, and he had 2 different groups of 80 fish go by, and he caught fish out of both groups. So the fly guys are doing good, and then all your guys throwing crabs and thread fins, either corked or free line, are doing real well up the entire coast, around Venice from Casperson's Beach on up to the jetty, and then Longboat Key all the way up to Anna Maria and Egmont Key. And we've got the moon approaching, so it's just going to get better. My tarpon photo tonight is another good friend of the show, Captain Billy the Kid Ahlstrom, with a happy angler.
Aww.
The nice tarpon she got.
Nice. Tell me about the snook, Paige, quickly.
Snook, last species. Cool thing about snook fishing, Rick, is you don't need a boat to fish for them. You can walk down the beach. And I mentioned Casperson's Beach. That's a great place to walk. You can park your car right there at the public access. Little flies or a little white soft plastic like a saltwater assassin. White sea shad rigged on an 1/8 ounce jig head. And then of course you can fish the inlets on the outgoing tide with pilchards and pinfish for your big snook. My last photo tonight is of my chiropractor son, Austin Rice, out of Venice with a fish he caught after he caught a tarpon down in Venice. And then I got to hit real quick Don't forget, you guys got plenty of time to get signed up. It doesn't start till July 1st, and that being the CCA Star Tournament. Lots of categories, lots of opportunities to win.
All right, thank you so much, Paige. Great report from the StarTron Central West region. It's time to look at the daiquiri deck hotspots. He says inshore, the tarpon fishing remains red hot. Drift the afternoon outgoing tide at Egmont Pass with live free line pass crabs. And then offshore, lots of amberjack holding on the ledges and in the springs, and 130 feet of water off of Venice. Live pinfish and blue runners are your best baits.
All right, we're taking you up to the northwest and northeast regions next. Plus, we're telling you how you can win a scallop season getaway to Crystal River, the beautiful Plantation Inn. But before we go, remember to keep up with everything fishing in Florida. Be sure to visit our website, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, follow and tag us in your photos on Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube page, Captain Rick Murphy. We'll be right back.
Look at that.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by StarTron, cures and prevents ethanol fuel problems. Albi Reels, a better way to fish. CCA Florida, the voice of recreational anglers for over 30 years. Diamond Fishing Products, our reputation is on the line. Murphy's Law Sport Fishing, book your trip today at murphyslawsportfishing.com. And Strike Zone Fishing.
Finding a shoreline is easy. Finding a sure thing is not. For over 20 years, anglers from Kitty Hawk to California and every shore in between have come to know one thing: that nothing says no to fish bites. So just stop with the fishing and get busy with the catching. Ask for Fish Bites or Fish Bites Fight Club lures or visit fishbites.com.
Come explore untouched Florida, where you'll step into holy sea cow and fish pristine waters where you'll reel in, whoa! Come discover Crystal River with exciting adventures and incredible surprises everywhere. From exhilarating river adventures to scalloping in the Gulf to delicious fish to fork cuisine, this is the place where you can relax into Just a short drive from Tampa and Orlando is the amazing Discover Crystal River, Florida. Learn more at discovercrystalriverfl.com.
Joining me now is Gary Bartell from River Adventure Tours in Discover Crystal River. You know, Gary, it's one of my favorite regions for a lot of reasons. Certainly, I started my career there tarpon fishing. But, what makes that area, Homosassa, Crystal River, so special?
It's old Florida at its finest. I mean, the fishery, the springs, the mass amount of just saltwater marsh that blends right into that mangroves with that crystal clear shallow water, and of course scallops too.
So not only is it famous for its springs and all the manatees that you guys, but when does scallop season open?
July 1st.
July 1st?
Yes, sir.
So how does that typically measure? So you go out scalloping, you find a whole bunch. Last year wasn't such a good season, but this year,
we're getting good reports. I mean, I tell you what, the shrimpers from HPA, Captain William Nichols, he sent us this footage, and it's just been, he said it's the equivalent to 2 years ago when we had one of the best seasons we've ever seen.
All right, so if you've never done it before, what do people need to know? It's pretty simple.
I mean, it's a shallow water area. So, you have to really know or have a basic idea of where you're going. it's nice and shallow and clear. So when you get out there, you can see that seagrass bottom, and you really just want to start working one area at a time. You know, when you drop anchor, you get down, you go through the grass. If you don't find anything, just pick up and drift a little way, because they might not be right there, but they could be 100 feet away.
So let's talk a little bit about the accommodations that are in the area. What do we got?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, starting in Crystal River, I mean, you've got some of the best hotels on the Gulf Coast with the Plantation, Holiday Inn, Homosassa. You have the Homosassa Riverside Resort, the famous Matt Craze of Homosassa, and then over in Inverness, Lecanto, there's plenty of hotels to choose from. But I would start choosing now, because it's starting to book up for scallop season.
All right, now, River Adventure Tours, the Florida Insider Fisher Report, and the Plantation in Crystal River, we've all joined together to create this really cool scallop contest. So why don't you tell everybody about that?
So we're gonna, the Plantation's gonna put you up for 2 nights in the beautiful resort. They're gonna wine and dine you. They've got breakfast planned, dinner, West 82 Bar and Grill, and then we're going to take you out scalloping, where you could actually take your scallops and bring them back to their restaurant. They'll cook them for you. And then at the very end, we're going to take you out on one of the most epic airboat rides you'll see.
Nice. You know, it's one of my favorite things to do. I'm not a real big water enthusiast. It's right at my speed. Those scallops aren't very fast. And I really like and enjoy being in Crystal River. Tell me quickly, what is one of your favorite things to do?
I mean, just being out on those airboats, it's remarkable. You can go from true backcountry Florida and then be out in that open water, but still look over and be a foot away from the bottom of the earth there. So it's a pretty incredible experience.
So for more information, where do people need to go, Gary?
DiscoverCrystalRiverFlorida.com. They've got your lodging, they've got local guides, restaurants, all kinds of accommodations. A great website.
You did good, bud.
Thanks, sir.
All right, well, Bree, we've got a few more regions to take care of.
Yes, we absolutely do. All right, if you want dolphin in the Discover Crystal River Northwest region, you can get them, but you're going to have to take a ride. Let's ask Captain Jeff Hageman, how far?
That's about true. My coast and my whole region has plenty of dolphin. You're going to have to get at least out past 70 feet of water, and most of those fish are going to be finding those schoolies. Keep a lookout for weed line, birds, bait, floating flotsam. The fish that are caught in less than 100 feet of water, like I was talking about, are going to be those smaller chicken dolphin. You're really going to have to get off the shelf a whole lot further and get out to that 200 plus feet of water to find any of the bigger fish. And finding them, trolling pink and white or blue and white, soft heads worked really good, with or without ballyhoo. Anytime I get offshore past 70 feet of water, I usually have a spinning rod rigged up in the boat, because we do get a lot of those schoolies that come in, and having a 1/4 ounce yellow bucktail ready to go as they swim by the boat is always a must. But what we do have a ton of right now inshore is mangrove snapper. It's been on fire throughout the entire region. Any high relief structure right now from 10 feet of water on out to 90 feet of water is holding them. Sardines and shrimp on a knocker rig has been the best way to catch them. The water's really clear right now, so 20 to 30 pound fluorocarbon leader, really small hooks, 1/0, a 2/0, and just enough lead to get to the bottom. Downsize everything right now, because that water is really crystal clear, and you'll get a whole lot more bites. Moving inshore, Captain Nick Warrington of High Octane Charters out of Crystal River reports a good cobia bite right now. Fish are pushing into the near shore structures. You want to look for them hanging around channel markers, wrecks. Any high relief rock piles will hold them too. Once you locate them, pinfish or a bucktail jig will do the trick. Staying inshore, Captain Mario Costello out of Tall-Tailed Charters out of the Plantation on Crystal River reports a really good snook bite right now around the mangrove shoreline in the Crystal River, all the way up to Homosassa. He's using jerk baits in a glow color rigged on a weedless 5/0 worm hook. He's working the potholes, and the bottom half of the tide has been the best. The snook right now have been ranging in his area anywhere from 28 to 32 inches. And moving down the coast, Captain Mike Anderson of Real Animals out of Tampa Bay reports a good snook bite all on that south shoreline right now. He says it's been really amazing. He's having some 40 to 50 fish mornings on live sardines. He's fishing the mangrove shorelines for snook, and he said both sides of the tide have been really productive. Moving into Ozona, Captain Jimmy Huddleston out of Ozona Fish Camp reports a good snook bite right now. The strong, warmer water has been, and these winter tides we're having right now, is getting these fish ready to gear up to spawn, and most of the fish are moving around to the rock piles and jetties. And the larger fish are moving in there too. Those big females, 15 pounds and up, are starting to move out there. They're going to be feeding heavy, getting ready for the spawn. 30-pound fluorocarbon leader is optimal right now because of the water clarity around Clearwater Beach and Enclosed. So downsize everything, free line pinfish and grunts. That will entice those larger fish to feed during those outgoing tides. I got a couple photos of some nice Ozona snook.
Wow, Hag. That's a real one.
Hey, I got a phone call from Rick a couple days ago, and I don't get many fishing reports from Rick, but he caught a spectacular fish, and I just wanted to give a big thumbs up. 200-pound round fly is pretty impressive.
Yeah, man, it was a really awesome fish, and probably the biggest fish I ever had my hands on, for sure, when it was one on a fly rod. But I appreciate that, dude. The other thing, how's the fishing real quick in Boca Grande? Has the wind been messing you guys up for all that fresh water, or is it hanging tough?
It's still going really well. The rain we've been having hasn't really dirtied up our water. We really need to dirty up our water because our water is gin clear. And the fish are really very spooky to any kind of leader. So, I mean, going down past 60, you're not going to land many tarpon.
Yeah.
Our area going down past 60. So getting that first morning bite, late afternoon bite, and these hilltide bites with the crabs flushing, they started last night. I'll be flushing throughout the weekend.
All right, dude, go down to 40-pound and a bigger circle hook and call me and tell me that you love me, all right? All right, I got to go. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the Alta equipment hotspots from the Northwest region. Inshore, the snook are on the beaches in the passage. Use sardines or pinfish free line under a cork. And then offshore, mangrove snappers on the high relief structure in the lower half of his region and 25 to 60 feet of water, Bree.
So Jeff Hageman, you, myself, ton of other captains, we're all going to be in the Discover Crystal River Northwest region scalloping
man.
when scallop season opens. It's going to be so much fun.
I can't
He's
wait
going to be in the water.
to have a scallop shooter.
Oh.
With the
Me too.
private stock Captain Morgan on the top.
Right. It's going to be great.
Yum, yum.
Nice vacay. All right, when it comes to the Alvey Reels Northeast region dolphin bite, impressive is the first word that comes to mind. Wait until you see some of these catches, right, Tommy?
That's right, Bree. And man, I would be excited just to see Rick get in the water. He must have a shark cage around him or something. I don't know how that's going to work.
He does.
But you know what, guys?
He's scared.
We've had an awesome run of dolphin here over the last few weeks, and we still got it going on in the Alvey Sidecast Reels Northeast region. You know, over the last couple of shows, I've talked about the Mahi because of how awesome a season we've had. Now, typically the best time of year to catch dolphin in my region is going to be in late April through May, although you can catch them year-round. Now, the last couple of weeks, the charter captains, man, they've been going into double digits with numbers of Mahi and some really big ones too. Now, it's getting towards the end of that run, but you can still find a few fish out there, according to the guys I talked to. Now, you're going to want to start looking typically for a good tide change, preferably with some stacked up weeds, anywhere from right around the ledge on out to even 1,500 feet. Now, as we get into the summer months, those dolphin are going to move inside the ledge, even near shore, pretty close to the beach, along some of the wrecks and reefs. Now, some of the typical rigs the guys are using, it's going to be a ballyhoo rig with a 7/0 Eagle Claw hook and 60 to 100-pound fluorocarbon, along with an 1/8 to a 1/2 ounce chin weight. Now, you can also run 1 or 2 chuggers along with some naked ballyhoos. And you know what, guys, the guys up there at Strike Zone, they have it dialed in, so if you stop by the shop, they can make it real simple and get you hooked up with all things Mahi, anything you would need. And guys, I've got a picture here. Captain Jason Hadges sent me this picture of a really stoked clients and their 58-pound Mahi from last week that they caught east of St. Augustine.
Hot dang.
Dang.
That's
all right,
impressive.
keep going, big boy.
All right, guys, it's getting to be that time of year. The mangrove snapper, they're going to start to group up and get ready to spawn. With this weekend's full moon, look for those mangoes to start to do their thing around the wrecks and ledges in about 80 to 140 feet, depending on where you are in the region. I spoke to Captain Shane Stover from InshoreAdventures.net. He tells me that most of those snappers are still going to be on the bottom for this moon, but look for them to really get going over the next month or so. Now, Captain Shane said he's going to use live pogies or live pinfish for bait, but frozen sardines are going to work as well. He also said they won't be quite as shy early in their spawn, so you can go a little heavier since they're on the bottom, use something like 60 to 80 pound fluorocarbon, and as they get more grouped up and the fishing pressure increases, kind of like Hag was talking, you want to downsize your gear a little bit, especially when you're chumming them up to the surface. Now those mangroves snappers, they're going to average about 5 to 8 pounds, but look for some huge ones that start showing up in the mix. We get some of the biggest mangroves around. And I've got another picture here. This is Mallory Hendricks with a monster mango she caught east of Jacksonville with Captain Shane Stover. Now moving inshore, guys, we are definitely moving into a summer pattern on the inshore side of things. Water temperatures have been getting into the low 80s during the day, and the water is on the murky side, especially with all the recent rain we've been having. And we've had a great redfish bite going on. Now, the early topwater bite has been great, but a lot of my clients have been catching them on cut mullet or cut ladyfish. Now, those baits have a lot of scent, and it makes it easy for those redfish to find it in that hot, murky water. Now, with the negative low tide that we have in the afternoon this weekend, those redfish should somewhat be bunched up along the ICW and in the creek holes throughout the entire region. Now, those cut baits, along with live shrimp and mud minnows, are going to be my go-to. And we have high tide at first light this weekend, and that's going to make for some great top water redfish action. That's my favorite way to catch them this time of year. And that's also going to be probably the most comfortable part of the day to be out on the water. So there's a bonus. Now, also inshore, guys, the trout bite continues to be good, and that early morning high tide is going to be a great time to get out and target some big ones. Again, a topwater plug is hard to beat, but a subsurface plug or soft plastic like the Saltwater Assassin Lil Boss are also going to work well. Now, the tried and true shrimp under a popping cork or on a 1/4 ounce jig head, that's going to work as well for those smallie schoolie trout for this time of year. Now, with the fresh water that's draining into the marshes, the saltier water is going to be near all the inlets, and the trout this week have really seemed to prefer that cleaner, saltier water. Now, the creeks close to all the area inlets, as well as the inlet docks and the jetty rocks, those are all going to be a good place to target trout this weekend, as well as some flounder and redfish. Now, I've got one last picture here, guys. My good buddy, James Drisdale, caught his personal best trout in a creek down by Matanzas Inlet.
That's a beautiful trout. Great picture, Tommy.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, I told you it was impressive.
It just always is. Tommy's always on the spot, man. You know, all right, bud.
Hey, I got good friends. I got good friends that take good pictures. That's what it is.
All right. Here's the strike zone northeast hotspots from the northeast region. He says inshore, trout and flounder in and around all the area inlets. The trout are on the higher tide stages with topwater and subsurface plugs, and then the flounder at the low tide with live mud minnows or mullet on the bottom, and then offshore mangrove snapper and mutton snappers on the wrecks and ledges, and 80 to 140 feet throughout the entire region. Sounds like Northeast region's on fire.
It is on fire, and he's got friends in fishy places.
Oh boy, here we go. Here goes another song.
Whatever. You like my mom? He's so nice. They named it twice.
You think my tractor's sexy?
You think my tractor? All right, stay
There we
hooked.
go.
Don't make me sing it. Stay hooked for a little longer because we're headed to the Bell's Southwest region next, right here on the Florida Insider.
Fishing report.
Oh, I thought you were going to leave me
I was thinking about my tractor.
Oh, okay.
All right.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Yamaha. Reliability starts here. The Florida Keys and Key West. Come as you are. The IGFA. Fish for the world. Sportsman's Adventures. Fishing for adventure. And Bell's. Everything you need to live life local.
When you live on an island, surrounded by warm, clear water, and a million ways to enjoy it, it's amazing you'll ever have time to come up for air. Key West. Close to perfect, far from normal.
Get a great deal on the Kubota L-Series tractor. Built upon a solid foundation of cast iron and steel, the Kubota L-Series tractor is the #1 selling compact tractor in the U.S. for over 10 years. With a powerful Kubota diesel engine and dependable gear or HST transmission, it's ready to take on your toughest projects. Right now, get the L2501 HST for payments as low as $149 a month.
Florida Coast Equipment, Florida's highest volume Kubota dealer.
Remember the glory days of gasoline? It's just not made the same anymore.
Kick your gas into gear with StarTron. Pump up the performance in all of your engines. Cure the problems of ethanol with the power of enzymes. And maximize your mileage every time you drive. Kickstart your engines with StarTron.
Have you ever felt your heart pounding while feeling the power of a tarpon in the Florida Keys? Or experienced the changing colors of a mahi as you bring it on board? Whether it's in the Bahamas, the Florida Keys, Guatemala, or the Florida Everglades, Murphy's Law Sports Fishing has the ability to guide you to the fish of a lifetime. To book your trip today, call 305-246-0673 or go to murphyslawsportfishing.com.
Today's Power Pole tip of the week is about the extension kit that you might need for your charge system. Now let me explain a little further. You know, always in technical poling skiffs and a lot of these bay boats, your cranking battery for your big motor is not necessarily in the same place as your trolling motor batteries because we use the battery weight for ballast. So my Maverick in particular has the trolling motor batteries all the way up in the bow, where the charge is mounted inside the console, and I don't have long enough lead. So Power Pole created an extension kit for your charge, and it's really simple. All we're gonna simply do is cut the wires that are going to the trolling motor batteries, and this extension kit is easily shrink wrap the wires, and now you have the ability to have the batteries in one place and your charge system in another place. So if you have any questions about the charge, you can simply go to powerpole.com, and that's today's Power Pole tip of the week.
Okay, Captain Ronnie Houston in the Bell's Southwest region is now on the line with some epic reports coming in from offshore and inshore. So Ronnie, take it away.
Well, obviously, you know, you can catch dolphin in the region, but it's not something common these guys do on an everyday basis. But I'll tell you what, in the last week, we've gotten some great reports from some recreational anglers offshore, especially for the mangrove snappers. You know, Captain Dan Vandermark reports with the water being clean and the seas being moderate, he's fishing a number of public structures from Sanibel to Stump Pass, but he's also, while he's out in those areas, fishing a variety of hard bottom ledges also in that area. He's telling me the depths are 65 to 85 feet, and it can be hit and miss, but he's putting the time in when he can. Taking advantage of the weather, and he's using block chum and live pilchards, but he's also using cut thread fins and live thread fins once he gets the fish going. He says the fish are bigger he's catching, and they're coming off the free line baits, not the baits going down below. He also says because of the size of these mangrove snappers, he's having to use 5,000 to 6,000 series reels, and he's using pink 30-pound fluorocarbon, and he specifically is telling me he's using the Trocar circle hooks. He's telling me he's catching some fish right now with the weather we've had in the last week in the 6 to 9 pound range. And I'll give you a prime example of a nice fish or several fish that were just caught in the last week by simply fishing for the mangrove snappers. Now, also, the permits. If you can take advantage of the weather, you know, in the last several weeks, I've said you can catch permit as close as 7 miles, 10 miles, 12 miles out, fishing the notice structure and artificial reefs. But reports I've gotten in the 60 to 80 foot range, fishing notice structure, the fish are holding in large numbers from Wiggins Pass to Sanibel, catching up to 2 dozen fish at a time in some of these areas, as long as you've got the crabs. Live crabs have been the bait of choice, and it seems if you can find these fish out on those depths right now, they're not being pressured, like I say, catching up to 2 dozen fish. And there's another prime example of some quality permits that are being caught right now out in those depths. Now, on the inshore side, Captain Corey McGuire and Danny Lathan to the north is still telling me with good weather, the bite remains strong right now for the tarpon from Fort Myers Beach to Boca Grande. They're both telling me that this last moon brought a lot of new fish into the mix, which spawned out and are starting to come back ashore. But he's also telling me in the last week the tarpon seem to have changed their diet a little bit from crabs to threadfin herring as well as pinfish. So we've been keying in on crabs in the last couple weeks. If possible, if you've got some crabs, you might want to double up on some of the baits I've mentioned. And I got a couple great pictures of some tarpon, one up on the beach. And I got another picture of Captain Danny Latham while he was out with one of his daughters with a massive sized tarpon. Now, last species is going to be the snook. Snook fishing has been good throughout the region on the outer Gulf Islands from Rabbit Key to Lossman's River, the passes from Marco to Boca Grande, and the beaches from Marco to Fort Myers Beach, especially on the higher tides. That bait is plentiful and the water's still clean. Plenty of bait on the beaches, and you really don't need a boat to fish the beaches. You can walk. Good water movement is going to be the key for the passes and outer Gulf Islands. But I'll tell you what, the beaches, you want to downsize your leaders to 20 to 30, if possible. I've been using the pink. Those fish out on the beaches are educated. Baits of choice have been white bucktails, bass assassin 4 and sea shads, Houdini, silver spoons, 1/8 ounce, and then the 10,000 Islands and the Everglades and the passes, live pilchards and threadfins. And I got a picture of a nice snook just caught up at the northern end of the region by Mike Dixon. And I know red snapper season just opened. Guys planning on going out for the weekend. Keep an eye on the weather. We got a system coming across the Gulf. The season's supposed to be picking up, so just keep an eye on that weather if you plan on venturing out for red snapper.
So, Rowney, I got a question for you. You know, we had a lot of rain over the 3-day weekend. How have you adjusted your fishing?
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, it's still steadily raining. I mean, we've been getting rain the last couple days and over the weekend. I can tell you one thing. For me, the last couple days, I've had the opportunity to fish up in the northern end of the region. So instead of that water being gin clear, it's starting to turn to tannic. I am still using the same size leaders, you know, some 30 in the pink because of the clear water. But I will tell you what, with the water changing colors right now, the fish aren't as spooky, and the bite seems to be picking up a little bit. And let me tell you, on the inshore side up north, that water right now is in the 90s. You better take advantage of early morning or late afternoon.
All right, Bud, thank you for straightening out for me. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the Catty Can Southwest hotspots. He says inshore, redfish, Lossman's River to Indian Key, the outer Gulf Islands on the higher stages of the tide, and then offshore, the red grouper, Sanibel to Stump Pass, 75 to 95 feet of water fishing the hard bottom. You know, those red groupers that he's talking about, Bree, it's really important. I learned this from Mike Avanon. Take some squid with you, because for whatever reason they really like this squid. You know, you can kind of sew it onto the hook by double hooking and triple hooking. It really works well.
That's a good tip.
Yeah.
Good job, Rick.
Mm-hmm.
You know your stuff.
Sometimes.
All right, Rick, it's time to get out and go get those dolphin. Maybe we'll even catch one for your birthday this weekend.
I hope we do.
But the reports are in, and we have a special birthday celebration surprise we want you to be a part of when we come back. So stay partying, and we will see you in a minute.
Okay.
Happy birthday.
Reliability. Yamaha is legendary for it. But it's more than a legend. It's something boaters have come to value. Why? Because it's rare. Because in this fast-paced, single-use world, few things are built to last. So when we find something that is, we hold on for dear life, to friendships, to traditions, to outboards. Because it's the lucky few who get to spend as much time on the water as they'd like. The rest of us, we look forward to those precious few days. That makes every second sacred. Every moment mean that much more. And it drives us to wring the most of every minute we get on the water, having incredible adventures, fighting the fish, making unforgettable memories. If you count on having this time, you need an outboard you can count on to power it. That's why boaters choose Yamaha for the long run, for life. Because reliability starts here.
What started in the flats and bays has migrated offshore. GPS-guided trolling motor technology has moved to boats in the 35-plus foot class and allowed anchoring capabilities on most center consoles in any depth of water. From snook and redfish inshore to grouper and swordfish way out deep, Rodan Marine Systems has a GPS anchor to hold your vessel on location. Set it, forget it, catch more fish.
The only reel with over 100 years of heritage. Alvi Sidecast reels allow you to cast over 150 yards with up to 900 yards of capacity. Alvi's state-of-the-art drag and 22-inch retrieve rate per wind is perfect for any surf challenge. Alvi reels are manufactured to best practice standards and are in fact so robust that the Alvi also comes with a 10-year salt and sand warranty. For more information, go to alvius.com.
All right, next week we are talking about paddle fishing, so make sure you tune in for that. Everything paddle.
I'm gonna have to do some studying.
Do some studying, Dave. Just get your Google on. Well, Rick, you know, we got a cake here, we got our hats on. It's your birthday.
It is my birthday.
It is your birthday.
Hey, Rick boy, it's your birthday.
To you.
Oh, nice.
Happy birthday to you. And you get crowned. You know I know how to do this.
She does know about putting them crowns on.
Happy birthday, Rick.
Don't
Thanks
you
for
smash
tuning in,
that
guys.
Don't you smash that in my face.
Tune in next week.
She did that one time.
That happened to me once.
But you smashed that in my face.